Yeah, this always happens when you're trying to make casserole. Anyway, that's what happens when you're in Alexandria. But, so we have a few left for Thanksgiving this year. What can you do? But we did get rid of some pesky little critters that came into our gates. But let's continue. Now, casseroles, everybody always thinks is going to be like sweet potatoes and green beans, but there's more to casserole because you can actually make a dessert casserole, what I like to call dump cake. Dump cake? Well, yeah, because, well, most of our ingredients come from the dump, but also because all you have to do is dump the ingredients to make your cake. So what are we going to use here? We got a can of apples that you can use for pies, a can of cherries that you'd also use for pies, and a box of your favorite yellow cake. That's all you need. That and a few pats of butter, like half a stick of butter, and you'll be fine. So what you're going to do, now for this little loaf, it's a little small, so I'm only going to use half of the ingredients. But first, we're just going to dump our ingredients one by one. First, I'm going to dump, let me get a nice little spoon here. I'm going to dump half a can of cherries. Look at that. And I only use half a can, well, actually, I use a little more than half a can for this square, but let's just leave some room for the apples, shall we? Well, yeah, that's good. A little more. A little more. All right, I like the cherries. Then, we're going to use half a can of the apples. Now, these are all seasoned, so you don't have to do a single thing. Again, this is something that you can do if you don't really want to cook on Thanksgiving, but you're asked to bring something. Well, bring something that's impressive. Actually, use a whole can because it seems like this is the perfect size, actually, for this kind of casserole. I left some cherries out just to use for, I guess we can use it for decoration afterwards. So the cherries and the apple, and they make a wonderful combination. So what you do next is dump a box of cake mix, a whole box of cake mix, and I believe I only have half here, but we'll use just the half for today. Yeah, I have half, but that's okay. You would use a whole box of cake mix. Yeah, just like that. You don't have to mix it. Actually, half the box is perfect for this. So if you're going to make a larger amount, I would use 2 cans of each of the fruits. And you can use pineapples, you can use any kind of fruits you want, peaches. And there you go. You just get another little item here. And you just pile on that cake mix just like that. But you're like, that's disgusting. It's powdered cake mix. And that's what it looks like. Seriously, that's it. But this is where the magic happens. You put all these little pats of butter as close together as possible. So I would use from half a pound, which is a half a stick, or a whole stick of butter. The more butter, the better. And yes, in the zombie apocalypse, it's hard to come by, but it's worth it to find this amount of butter to put into a cake like this. And I ran out of, so you get the gist. And it's great because you don't have to soften the butter or anything, you just like plop it on. Like my mother, she used to make these wonderful like ham and cheese sandwiches, or my grandmother actually. And you know, we lived up in New York, and she wanted to make the bread a little tastier. So she would put on cold pats of butter in my sandwich. And they would stay cold. So I'd always have like these big bites of just butter and ham and cheese and bread. So that's the gist of it. So that's all you do is just put your butter on top of your cake mix, simple as can be, and you pop it in the oven. This will probably take around 30-35 minutes and we'll be done. So you'll have your green bean casserole and your dessert ready to take to the table. So if you give me a chance, I'll clean up this mess I left outside, and we'll be ready for dinner in no time. Be right back. Well, there you have it. And here is our beautiful dump cake. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, and it's up to you, you can add to the topping of the cake mix some walnuts or almonds or pecans, a little bit of brown sugar. You can change this up as much as you'd like. this is delicious on top of some nice vanilla ice cream, if you have any, or with some Cool Whip or whipped topping on top. And here is our beautiful green bean casserole, just as I promised. Now again, this also, you can change it up. You can add some sausage, some bacon, even some squirrel giblets, whatever you can find. Speaking of squirrel, again, I don't want you to forget about our beautiful arrangements, including this beautiful place setting that I made for my favorite, Daryl himself. And again, our flowers added with some nice burlap coverings to make it just a little more special. And I did the same thing here with some candles and just added some pine cones and some leaves and even some bones I found on the side of the road. And there you have it. It's Thanksgiving. No matter who you're with, that's who your family is. It's the people who make you feel safe and loved. So for this wonderful Thanksgiving celebration, why don't you watch a show like The Walking Dead and learn what it really takes to be family? Killing others to save your family. That's true love. Well, I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed Thanksgiving with lots of things that you can thank God for. And I myself have to thank God that, well, I've been given the task to wash Daryl for dinner. So anyway, I'll see you in my next segment where I'm going to make it snow. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving day. See you later. Daryl! Oh, Daryl, dear. I'm ready.